Hello, everybody. How's it going? Happy Wednesday. I cannot share anything since I told you the thing I told you that I thought somebody hacked my phone. I can't share anything. I can't go to any Facebook pages to even share it.
Uh-oh.
So share this. So if anyone's watching, please share because there may not be hardly anybody watching now because I usually share it to like 10 different places and I can't. You were the one I was speaking to on Messenger. You? Are they talking about you? Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, maybe you can share. I don't know. I can't do anything. It doesn't make any sense unless Facebook is mad at me. I have no idea. So we're going to talk about several different subjects tonight. We're going to talk about the Idaho 4, some updates in that case, and some even more recent updates in new news of another case that's in Pennsylvania that probably doesn't have anything to do with this case, the Idaho 4 case, but it could, the people that are involved could be linked, could have something that comes out in the wash after it's over. They're doing a grand jury trial also for another case and have subpoenaed Brian Koberger's parents to be there in this other case. And I believe actually the mother has already gone there and testified for this other separate case of the missing girl that went missing in May 2022, which is, in theory, I don't know if it's like linked or not, but this person went missing before Brian Koberger moved to Washington to go to school there in June.
I wonder if that is one of the IDs that they found.
Everyone was saying that, which how we're not going to know unless someone puts out there that it was. You know what I mean? Like unless they let us know the information, we're not going to know it. We do know that there were IDs and that they were looking into those. We know that.
Yeah.
So that being said, why would they subpoena his parents to court? They said he had a very strong alibi, rock solid alibi for the night that girl went missing. So I'm thinking if they're subpoenaing his parents to go to court for this, then that must be his alibi. They must be his alibi. That's the only thing that could make sense to me. But I don't know any more about it other than basically what I just said, and that the girl went missing in May, and they just recently found her remains. Her name was Dana. I can't remember her last name. She was in her 40s. She was very pretty. She actually sort of resembled Xana in a way, but like an older version of her, like maybe like Xana's mom. And she was found there about 20 minutes away from the Koberger home. Went missing at a time that Brian was still living there. So could one of those IDs that were in the gloves that they haven't released any information about, other than the fact that they weren't any of the Idaho 4 victims, could one of those be this lady? Maybe. Possibly. And we're also going to talk about psychics that scam people, that have been proven to scam. Not what?
Psychics or psycho? Psychics
awesome.
or psycho?
Instead, I've started some card readings on my Facebook. That's awesome. It's fun, especially once you start getting the hang. I know who she is. She's messaged me. I didn't know because your name right here is not the same as your name on YouTube. She has messaged me on YouTube. I know who this is. Now I remember you. I just looked at your photo because when I put it up now, I can see the thumbnail bigger so I can see your face in the photo, because all I could see is Kaylee Love's face. as the face, and I was like, "Is this a real person pretending to be Kaylee Love?" That's someone I had interviewed one time, Kaylee. She's from the UK. She's really awesome, paranormal investigator, and this girl has met her before. Yeah, and we
Sweet.
got some haunted dolls. Kaylee Love. She gave you a doll. That's really nice of her. She's a pretty nice lady. I thought she was really nice. It was a good interview. So I want to let you go ahead and tell, since we're doing two different topics tonight, we're going to have to kind of like crunch it. But we might go over just a little bit. There is a show after us though, so I don't want to stomp all over his show and like take up, his screen time. So I want to be respectful of that. But if we go over a little bit, hopefully he won't get too mad. Hopefully he won't get too
Yeah.
agitated about it. But I'll let you go ahead and tell the story that you were telling about the doll thing, the Barbie doll or the doll.
Yeah, this lady, uh, Tracy Malovich, she is doing time in prison for, she convinced this woman, this 37-year-old woman, that her and her 8-year-old daughter had a demon in them. And she took over $70,000, wanted $70,000 from them, from this woman. So the woman had to take out a loan and borrow from friends and family and put this demon in a Barbie doll. And she said if she didn't get this money, that they would their souls would go to hell.
Oh my gosh.
And the
That's
woman's
what the
husband
video
finally
that I seen or that I watched earlier. That's what it said that they do. The ones that are scammers, they'll give you a bad result that's going to happen if you do not give them this money and let them
yeah.
fix this
And she told
diagnosed
him,
problem that they're telling you you're having.
yeah, she told him, don't tell anybody, because the demon will hear it. He will hear you, and so she couldn't. She threatened her that she could not tell anyone, and the price kept going up and up and up, and then because the charms or the stuff that she would give her, she said wasn't working, and it got up to be like over $69,000, and got up to $70,000, and finally she told her husband what was going on, and the husband contacted the authorities, and the woman was arrested, and she's doing like 15 years in prison.
That's
She had
crazy.
other
It's a
victims
lot of
too.
money. Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I have the same thing. I've always had the same thing. I actually really struggled with it very much when I was a younger, like a teenager. I struggled with it a lot because I didn't know what it was, and I thought that I had like some kind of chronic problem, and like like a depression that was just like physically showing up in my body because I would feel other people's feelings, and I didn't know what it was. So I really, actually, at one point didn't want to live anymore because I didn't know how to filter it out, I guess, or get it out of you, or like let it go through you, I guess, and not hold on to it. And it was just like so overwhelming. So that's crazy. That's so much money. That's just like crazy. Depending on when that was, though, you could pay a car off and part of a house, or maybe buy a house. It's just so much money. That's insane. Did you say if they got her convicted of fraud or of whatever you would convict someone of in that case?
Yeah, I believe she got like 14 or 15 years.
Yeah, because there was another case I watched today, and there was a woman that took a lot of money from some man and said he was going to make this ex of his fall in love with him immediately if she gave him like so much money, and then did exactly what she told him to do. And her first price was $500, and but it kept going up from there because she had to like sell him all these trinkets or talismans and stuff like that, and it just kept going up and up and up, like in the thousands or something. And then there was a detective that was undercover that went in to get a reading from her, and somehow proved that she was a fraud and that she had done that to this guy, and she got convicted. She went to jail. I don't know how long. Something banged
Yeah.
them.
I think I seen that one too.
It was crazy. I was just like, wow. And so, like, having the multiple different topics, I don't want to go like back and forth like a yo-yo. Hopefully, people can keep up. But there's 4 people watching right now. If you're watching, there's 4 people watching right now. Can you please share, because I have something wrong with my phone? I can't share while we're watching. I think that something happened to it. Some scammers were trying to scam me, and I kind of didn't know that that's what they were doing. And I'm afraid they hacked in my phone. So it's not working. I can't share anything out anywhere. It's weird. But my laptop's fine, and they didn't, you know, get any information from there, which unless it's, you know, in my cloud, linked in my cloud. There was a couple of different cases I pulled up on Google of different psychics that scammed people that were pretty well known. Um, there was a man that was from Tampa. He was a medium, and his name was M. Lamar Keene. He was very prominent in the 60s and the 70s and well known for his cunning charisma and sheer audacity. In front of a congregation of his spiritualist church, he would enter a tranced state and appear to speak as a deceased 17-year-old Jack, and asked Jack's mother, Alona, to donate thousands of dollars to the church. One day, Lona asked Jack about the secret name and he used for her. I guess he had a nickname for his mom, and so the psychic medium was stumped until he attended a gathering at their house, and he feigned a headache and pretended, like he had to be excused. He pretended to rest in her bedroom and searched through her belongings and found the nickname Apollonia. So he pulled it off. He confessed to. He had told her, I guess, that he knew, and he was still Jack, and he knew. I don't know what the name that I used to call you was Apollonia, so he could prove that he was really a spirit, which he wasn't. Keene confessed to being a con man in his 1976 book called The Psychic Mafia. Jack and Lona was just one of many audacious cases he revealed in the expose, which shook the world of spiritualism so much that it led to an attempt on his life. People went after him.
Oh.
Yeah, so why did he... Hold on. I was reading that comment too. Visit lots of places. I'm heading to a club castle on the weekend at Ruthin Castle. Can't wait. That ought to be cool. We should put some photos out. I'll look at them. Keene described how mediums shared client information so that they could conduct hot readings based on solid facts. So that they basically collected information on people that they already knew and acted like they didn't know, and they used that to give the readings to convince people that they were a medium. He recounted how they would steal jewelry from clients for a few months, only to pretend a dead family member's spirit had made it reappear, which usually resulted in generous tips. That's crazy. Ultimately, he confirmed that mediums formed a vast network to fraudulently monetize people's grief. So why did Keene, the so-called prince of spiritualists, choose to blow the whistle on everyone? A journalist named Vicki Baker went after Kate, stories that were juicy scandals. And she knew she had hit the jackpot when she discovered a photograph of Keene dressed in his famous all-white suit and boots. She Googled psychic crime rings to feed a new curiosity about psychic scams while sitting across the road from the medium's office. Eager to follow up on her 2019 podcast series, Fake Heiress, the story of con artist Anna Sorokin. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but that's a really good story and a really good show. I'd highly recommend it. The story of con artist Anna Sorokin, who passed herself off as a wealthy heiress named Anna Delvey, which was her fake name. Baker was excited to make Keene its subject. Now that I think about it, there's a parallel between him and Delvey. Some people were wowed by her and found her really impressive. Others found her quite dull. It was kind of odd. Some people barely remembered Keene. Others he left a massive mark on. And he was an unforgettable showman. He had just stage presence. Here we go. I'm watching this tomorrow. It's 2:14 for me. Oh, is it really? That's funny. South Wales.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She said, I'd love to do it with you, but I'm in the UK. I don't think I'll be there this weekend. It's a little bit far for me. A little bit last minute. Um, so inevitably, as she went and sought out ways to defraud or like prove that he was a fraud. In 6 episodes, she met with fraud experts, psychologists, and skeptics to unpick this absurd world, as well as people who knew, though it was near impossible to get to the roots of his story.
Oh,
At a time
Georgia,
of
we would
collective
love
mass
that.
grief, it's perhaps understanding. Huh?
I would tell
What?
Georgia that we would love that.
Oh. There was only a certain amount of information I could get my hands on. 75 hours of recordings he made for his ghostwriters. Everything else involved a lot of digging. 96, I guess, is when he was actually. That's a long time. So from the 70s until the 90s, that's a long time. The book starts when is in his 20s, and the guys who interviewed him were more interested in pressing him on other people in the industry, whereas I would have asked more about, well, him. So I guess they were trying to use him as like a snitch. Baker sent a lot of unanswered emails before her best lead connected with her Keen's half sister, who filled in the wild details about why he had severed ties with his family. Anyways, I'm not going to read everything. He quickly realized Raoul, I guess that was his partner in crime in the medium world, was an open-eyed medium, fully aware that he could not contact the dead. So I guess he thought he was going to get told on. After becoming certified as a reverend and opening his own church, Keene attended the popular Spiritualism Center Camp Chesterfield in Indiana. Researching this camp many years later, Baker made an exciting discovery. Baker found out about Mabel Ripple, who ran Camp Chesterfield, where desperately guests paid to mingle with mediums and attend seances to try to contact their lost loved ones. Baker describes the Ripple person, who died in 1961, as a matriarch of mediums. The fact there was a holiday camp for spiritualists made me so curious to explore more, and her cousin Ethel even set up a rival camp. You could do a whole other podcast on that. That's kind of cool. To look that up. In 1960, another expose used infrared cameras that revealed the figures who materials seances to be humans, entering the room through a side door. That's crazy. And for King, which is the man that was a mysterious psychic medium for years, the camp was an inspiration to go big with the scams, using many years of success and a lot of money rolling in. What was it that finally made him crack? It was never quite explained in the book, but he had a massive run-in with Raoul, which was his friend that was a real psychic medium. Jealousy and accusations on both sides. There were rivals. He described it as the biggest showdown in all of my medium career, so that's the argument that caused him to sever ties. It sounded like Keene revealed the slippery secrets of his trade for moral reasons, yet she was shocked how his life turned out. After the assassination attempts on his life, he changed his identity and devoted his life to good deeds. Interesting. I could never have predicted it. I found myself in a completely different world. People who knew him then did not even know he was a previous psychic. Isn't that crazy? So he just kind of buried that. But that's one case of a person that was defrauded for being a false medium or fake medium, just because they wanted to capitalize on people's needs or, like woes or grief, and they wanted to make money off of it, which is really sad. And so there was a lot more than just him, but that was like the one that had the most details about it that I had Googled. And since my phone's not working, I already had that pulled up, so it brought that up, but it won't bring up anything new. So I would like to learn more about numerology and like us to do a show about numerology, explaining some more about it. But I myself
I would
need to learn a
too,
little bit
because
more about it. But I think that
I keep seeing the same numbers over and over
it could be
again.
valuable. Yeah, I always have, and it's really weird, and people think you're crazy if you don't have anything to back it up. You know what I mean? They're just like, no, you're just seeing that, or you're just saying that, or you're just weird, or you're just assuming something based off of nothing. That's what someone said to me, and I'm like, no, I'm
No,
not
well,
really. I know that there's synchronicity, and I know there's coincidence. Huh?
no, every day. Every day
Yeah,
I'll see
and
11,
it can't just
11,
happen every day.
12, 12, 12:34. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like something makes me look at the clock at that time every day.
Yeah,
It's weird.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's weird. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Mine is 8 and 7, 8:17, and mine is 11:22 and 11:21. And it's been like that for a couple of months now. Before that, for like 2 years, it was 8:17 everywhere. Movies, billboards, like things I hear on the radio or something like that. If you're wondering what's coming through your phone, it's me.
Or it's 111, or it's 222, or it's 333. It just every day.
Yeah. Um, but since I started, like the first day that I started watching anything to do with the Idaho case, which was not that long ago, it had been going on for months, and I didn't even know a thing about it. I barely knew the guy's name, Brian Koberger, and that is it. I didn't know anybody else's names. I didn't know what happened. I didn't know where it happened. I knew nothing.
No,
Except,
didn't I tell you about it?
no, I just started watching it for some reason. I think something just weird happened, and I just saw it or something. No, you didn't tell me about it because remember, I didn't know you were watching it. When you told me that and that you
Oh,
had been
that's right.
watching it with your mom the whole time, I was like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what happened the day that I started watching. I think I was actually in a lobby at my son's therapy and it popped up on YouTube. And I just watched what was on there because sometimes I'll sit out there and it's not really silent and I have to, either fall asleep and take a nap
Yeah.
or watch something on YouTube for 2 hours.
Yeah, because I told you I'd been watching it.
Yeah, and when I said something about it, you were like, "Oh yeah, me and my mom's been watching that the whole time," and I'm like, "Man, I'm jealous. I haven't been. I didn't know anything about it." I have to. What do you want us to do? She said, "You don't have to." Okay, I just need a friend to talk to. Well, you can talk to us.
Yeah,
We're
you can
here.
talk to us.
Um, but yeah, I just started watching it, and then I started seeing it like this whole world of like people that were like, basically, I'm just gonna say it like it is because I don't BS. People that are obsessed with it. I ain't gonna
Oh,
lie.
what about those girls that want to date him?
It's sick. I find a very special trauma in that. But I don't know. Because I can be like the most forgiving person and I can empathize with anybody. That doesn't matter if someone came up and slapped me in the face, even if my immediate reaction is to fight or flight, then eventually I will cool off and I will forgive the biggest of villains. But in this case, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be like, hey, you just stabbed four people in cold blood and took their young lives away from all of their family. I think that's just so attractive. I want to marry you. No, it's not going to happen. Sorry. And I've also done the research to see that the other serial killers that have had fans and fan clubs and women that adorned and worshiped them, it did not work out. It did not work out. One of them was murdered herself.
I know.
And one of them found out that the guy that she was with had, unalived a child. And after that, she divorced him. And then there's another couple that went to jail together. And while they were in jail, the woman divorced the guy because she found out all these other cases came out and he confessed all these other things and that he had done this for years. She only knew about one incident. She didn't know he'd been doing it for years. He was like a scam artist and he would like unalive people to take their houses and their money and bury them in their own backyard. and skip countries all over, go to all these different countries. And she had married this guy, and yeah, I didn't know any of that until he finally got caught. What's his name? What's his name? Anyways, that's another topic for another day. So, um, what does anybody think? And if anybody watches this later on replay, they can comment. What does anybody think about like Brian taking the standing, silent, innocent, or not guilty plea? Excuse me, not guilty. There's not really, I guess, innocent plea. That's a conviction. But like, there's several theories that I have, and I've heard quite a few people kind of like confirm some of those about what they think, which mine's a little bit more like deeply rooted than just kind of what they talked about, but like trying to put your eyes in the or your mind and your like you're looking into the abyss of somebody that's like that, trying to like become them, I guess, to think of why they would do that. What I try to do without actually turning into a killer. But what do you think? Why do you think that he did that?
Why do I think he did it?
Mm-hmm.
I think he did it because he always wanted to. And then because of his studies, he wanted to see if he could get away
No,
with it.
why do you think he took the standing silent, not guilty
Oh,
plea?
why do I think he took the standing silent?
Yeah,
Because I think it's all a game to him.
yeah, that kind of sums up what I think. And then some people are saying because it's a control thing, which sums up what I think too, in a way. Like I think that he is. It's either a bargaining chip, in my opinion, for something else that he has several different avenues of different plans of different actions to take based on what's going to come out and what's going to happen as they orchestrate a plan. Him and his lawyers, but
I
I
think
also feel like that not just because it's like a bargaining chip, but it's also not just because he wants control, but it gives him control. I think that he wants to remain mysterious. I think that he wants to
I think
remain
he thinks
unknown.
he's smarter.
Huh?
I think he thinks he's smarter than everyone, but what he doesn't realize is he's going
Well, I
up
do think
against
that.
detectives and these FBI agents that have been doing this for years.
Yeah,
And
like
he's
more years than
basically
he was
just a
born,
kid.
that he's been alive.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah,
basically just a kid. He's a
it has been said that
narcissist
he always
fool.
wanted to be the smartest person in the room. That he always had to prove that he was smarter than everybody in the room. And it's like I've heard that in several different sources in several different cases, or like conversations, or several different like podcasts and stuff or channels. But I think that he likes the fact that nobody he like. I think that he relishes in the fact that it's so two sided. There's people that are for him and like bloodthirsty, like admirers for him, like not bloodthirsty, like I don't know what you'd call them. They're just clandestine, like they like worship him like he's like I don't know. They worship him like he's like Justin Bieber or like he's one of the Backstreet Boys or something. He likes that, but he also likes the fact that nobody knows, and so many people are racking their brains trying to figure out everything. And with the gag order, there's no way that we can know. Like I think
Yeah,
he likes to be a mystery. He wants to remain a mystery. I think that he thinks that that's a power play to keep people interested in him because, no offense, I don't think he had very many fans before this. I don't think he had any fans.
Georgia, it's 8:30 at night here.
Yeah, and we'll be going for 30 more minutes. But if you're ready to tap out, girl, if you're going to fall asleep on us, we're not going to get mad at you. I wish I could share it though, because I know there'd be like several more people in here, and there's nobody. Kind of stinks. So I can hear their points of view and whatever. But like, yeah, like I think like people saying that he wants to be in control. I don't think that it's that simple. I think it's way more complex than that. And I don't think that he's completely as dumb as some people think that he was just because the sheath got left and he might have got caught. I think he's a little bit smarter. He just did something stupid. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Hmm. Allegedly.
Allegedly.
So, and but then my other theory is kind of that like it's a power play or a bargaining chip for later because some other stuff he knows is going to end up coming out with some of the other people's quote unquote exculpatory evidence that may never see the light of day, but it might. But I think that it's also like a bargaining chip for him to use in that aspect, and as another aspect, if there was anyone else involved in this, he's going to use it as a bargaining chip. But he's going to be like, "I will tell you what you want to know, and I will tell you what the families want to know and what they want to hear, if you will let me." In the event he had an accomplice, if you will let me throw this person under the bus, and you will give me some kind of lesser sentence or take the death penalty off the table. That's what I mean by bargaining chip.
Where is the
Which still kind of means that you have to be in control because you're it's like you're playing chess or poker or something. You know what I mean? You're bluffing. Everybody's bluffing, and nobody knows who's really got what hand until they lay them down. It's just chips are going in and out, and I think that all these suing, like people, the families trying to sue the PD or the law enforcement or the university. I think that I can understand a lot of reasons why they might be doing that, but I also think that that's kind of like you'll see this happen on this side, you'll see this happen on this side, you'll see this happen on this side, and you'll see this happen on this side. But I will say on the defensive side, they've kind of slowed down because I think that they're kind of like losing momentum or their power. They're playing silent, like they're making their moves silently. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
Because that's how you win. But for a while we were seeing back and forth, and then like now you're seeing the parents are suing all of these people, and I'm really curious about what they're suing them for. The reason. What do you think they're suing them?
That I'm trying to look to where I can share it out. I'm not
Oh,
ready.
okay. Like I know that the actions and keeping on like gouging might like put some pressure on some people to let go of the gag order and to like take that wall down for them. I feel like that could be a logical reason why that they're suing, but I think that there's more to it because they're suing the university, not just law enforcement. So there has to be, you know, more meat, some meat with the potatoes, not just potatoes. There's got to be some other things on the plate there that they're wanting to sue for, or that they're hoping to gain, or like reaching for by doing this.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I just wish there was people. There's always like at least 5 people watching. I can't even share it. You can put it in the group too, the host group. On my side. So, well, I could pull up the other stuff and screen share. Let's do that. I'm going to share something on the screen. And even though some of these people we were talking about earlier have made some pretty accurate. Can you turn that noise that's on off?
I'm just shutting it
Whatever the
all
noise
off.
is. Like when I share, I turn my volume all the way down and then I share it so that when I go through all the pages and stuff, it doesn't make a lot of noise. Because it'll echo and stuff sometimes too if you're on the same.
Okay.
What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I don't think we'll be going over. We don't have anybody to talk to.
Oh, everybody's gone?
No, I'm just saying like there's one person there and that's it. But when like you don't engage with people that are there, they usually just scroll right past if there's something else on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't even have you to talk to. Okay. On that. Okay. So I'm gonna pull something up and we can do a screen share.
I'm trying to find.
I'll put it. Open fonts. Share the screen. Facebook Messenger. Actually, that's what I want. Share. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. I was off of it for a second, so let's get past.
What if the jargon makes me feel alone and in the dark?
State Farm, we're there for your what ifs.
Great.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
The crystal reading,
This is the woman.
it's only a few dollars more than the tarot cards. Okay, it's 85. But when I tell you something is good,
Right.
it's very good.
You got power?
I've been a spiritual healer all my life.
Mm.
Okay,
Right.
I could find out everything.
Bob says this is how most psychic scammers start, and Christine's case is no different. Bob was hired by a woman who alleged she was defrauded out of $1,300 by Christine, so he went undercover to get answers.
They use a lot of different words: curse, negativity, darkness, blockage.
My
And
phone's
that's why you
messed
have
up.
this problem in your life. That's why you were diagnosed with cancer. That's why your husband left you.
Almost exactly what Christine told Bob in his undercover investigation.
I see the negative force. Your spirit, your soul is very damaged.
So the psychic gives the person false hope, and then they tell the person that they and they alone can remove this curse.
John, you need spiritual cleansing. Do you want me to help you to bring her back to
You do that?
100%?
You can bring her back
Yes, I
and
can.
be with me.
Yes, I can. I can bring her back. That's not the problem, John.
Right.
If you have faith and do what I tell you to do, the sooner I start this work, John, the sooner you start to see results. You will be free of this negative force.
This is where Bob claims a scam starts to turn into a crime. After gauging your financial situation, a price is given for a cure, usually starting with a few $100s.
John, this cleansing is $500. In order for me to bring Sue back in your life,
And I've been doing them for free.
you have to do what I tell you to do. If you do it, you're going to see very strong results. She will be in your life right away.
And in most cases, Bob says victims can be conned over months or even years, and the prices only escalate as they claim more bad fortune for the victim's future.
And when people have superstition and fear, the psychic will prey upon that, saying something bad will happen to someone in your family. And when the person gets suspicious and wants to stop the work, sometimes the self-proclaimed psychic will say, well, someone will die if we stop.
As a result of this investigation, Christine was arrested and charged with larceny, scheme to defraud, and fortune-telling. She denied these charges and ended up pleading down to disorderly conduct. She is not currently being investigated or subject of any other prosecutions at this time. Bob says it's important to remember that anyone can be a victim.
Psychics prey upon people at a vulnerable time in their life. It's not like if your IQ is over 130, you're immune from being ripped off by a psychic. Okay? Anybody can fall victim to a psychic fraud if at a vulnerable time in their life.
Now, it's important to note we're not claiming all psychics are frauds, but fortune-telling fraud, which is designed to take huge sums of money from trusting victims, that can lead to serious charges. This was an unbelievable story, right?
I mean, because how many people do you know
You're
that have gone to
vulnerable.
see one of these people just trying to get some help?
Exactly, trying to get answers.
Protect yourself out there.
So that was just one video I had watched or whatever. And then there was the other one that has Sylvia Brown on it and it has all these other people. It was like basically just saying like that none of them are like accurate. 24/7, 100% of the time, they're just not. Are you finished sharing or are you still sharing?
No, I'm trying to do it. Yeah, my phone is all messed up.
Yeah. I just share it to the group. Did you share it to the group?
Mm-mm.
I can't even do that because I can't even copy and paste it unless I do it right here. But then I'm not talking, and then nobody's talking, and then people are watching us
Well,
down at our devices instead. So
you go ahead and try to share it, and I will just.
You can talk about what you saw today. Talk about the video that you saw today, but we could probably like copy and paste it and put it in the comments. That way people can actually see what you're talking about later.
Okay. Killers don't get caught, and you're making yourself targets along with your entire generational family.
You are too, I guess. Then, right? If we're calling something
Well,
something.
I seen today where this lady, podcaster on YouTube was had the Corner Club, and it was the night of the murders. There was a guy sitting in the corner on a stool right by the door, and it looked just like Brian Kohlberger. And he was watching the girls. Kid you not. And it looked just like him. And we were taking, like 51% of us thought it was him, and 49% of us I think there were like 300 and some people in the podcast. 49% of us didn't think it was him. The guy had the same hairline and the same curl. His hair looked curly. It was dark. It was dark hair. The lights were on because I guess it was the end of the night, and everybody, everybody was pretty well lit. It was a bar, and the lights were on. And then at the grub truck, there was you could see where Maddie and Kaylee were standing up at the window, and you could see Kaylee slamming her hand on the. They noticed a car pull up, and you can see where Kaylee slams her hand on the. Like, oh my gosh, there he is, because they kind of come together, and Maddie, pulls her camera up and turns it and takes a picture, and then you can see somebody in dark clothes with white shoes on walk behind, and you can see where she takes a picture of him, and then you could see him walk across, and then maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds later, somebody else walks across the same path. And so on her phone, somebody, she has that picture. So if she has a picture of Brian Kohlberger on her phone, then she just solved her own murder.
That could be why they started looking for him.
That could be. So they have him, dead to rights. Excuse the pun.
Because everyone was like, why did they even start looking for him? You know what I mean? Like, what made them start looking at him as a suspect? A lot of people wonder that.
So, she might have solved her own murder. So, that's kind of why I've kind of kept my mouth shut. I mean, you and I have speculated. Hey, Debbie, you and I have talked about what we think, kind of spitballing ideas, but pretty much in all the podcasts, I've kind of kept my mouth shut because we follow a lot of people. But I've kind of kept my mouth shut because not going to speculate either way until all the evidence comes out, because I think they had to have a hell of a lot to arrest him and hold him for as long as they have. And for that grand jury to come down
There.
with
There.
huh?
It was going to screen share, and it had pulled it up, but I hadn't shared it yet, and it was screen sharing us two, and you talking. So I was hearing you talk, and then I was hearing you echo what you're saying. Oh my gosh! And I was like, "Wow, there's three Dawns! Oh my gosh, 3 Dawns!"
Oh no!
I shared it to like 5 or 6 places, and I shared it to the group messenger too. So that's good enough for me. Just so it's in different places, so that people are actually going to stumble upon it and see it, and watch it or whatever.
Good night, Georgia.
Good night. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, stay spooky.
Have a good night. So, what she was saying, she's going to show me later, and we can copy and paste the link and put it in the comments here, so that you guys can go back and look at the video or whatever the person's content that showed this or discovered this. You can see it yourself and watch it. Because I still have to look at it because I haven't seen it. So.
Well, she hung in for a long time for it being so late there.
Yeah, she did 47 minutes. Yeah. So, anyone that's watching, what do you guys think about the standing silent, not guilty plea, or what do you think about the new case that's come about with the grand jury that's in Pennsylvania that had subpoenaed Koberger's parents to come and testify, I guess you'd say? What do you guys think about any of that? It was a case of Dana. Her name is really weird. Her last name is really strange. I can't remember what it is. I don't know. Anyways, her name was really strange, but they just found her body recently and her remains, and she had been missing since before Koberger had moved to Washington to go to college there. So if anyone has any thoughts about that, share them. Feel free. Also, we were talking about psychics versus psycho. Maybe that's why nobody's watching this. Maybe there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, they don't sound right. I don't like that." But if you don't watch it to elaborate on it, then it won't matter. But like some fraudulent psychics, not psychos. I'm gonna pretend to be a psycho so I can take people's money.
Psychic or psycho?
Give me your money, I'll be psycho for you.
But it just takes a psychic one time to be wrong, and all the good work that they did is just nil.
Yeah.
That is what's the hard part about being. I mean, look at all the good work that Sylvia Brown did all them years, and she was wrong about one case, and all the good work that she did was forgotten. Granted, it was a big case to be wrong about. Them poor girls that were held by that Castro guy.
Yep, that was the one.
And that was, thank God them girls got away. And that poor mom passed away not knowing that her daughter was alive and being held by that creep. That was sad, extremely very sad, and that was a bad case to be wrong about. And I watched that episode, but on Montel Williams, but to be wrong one time and all the good work that she's done all them years, she was extremely gifted. But, psychics can be wrong too. We're only human. Or they're only human. That's sad.
Yeah. I was trying to find, that was Dateline, like the whole entire Dateline show. Wouldn't have time for that one. It's like an hour and 18 minutes or something, like an hour and 20 minutes. I was going to post it on here so people could watch it, but yeah, we don't have time for that. I thought I had sent something else to myself about like like another case of fraudulent psychics or mediums or something like that. I don't see it at all.
Yeah, anything you can find on Google. You know, if they want to watch it, they can look it up on Google.
Yeah. Well, if anybody wants to link to the Dateline, if you haven't seen it, tell me and I'll put it in the comments so you can watch the full episode. Got it. My mom couldn't find it anywhere, so I had to send it to her. I had to find it for her. She doesn't have a way to watch it, so she was like, I can't do this. I can't watch it. I can't find it anywhere, and I don't have. She's like, I tried to download the NBC app, and it wouldn't even let me log into it. So, because you can download the NBC app, and it's supposed to give you like 3 free streams or something like that. Either 3 free streams or 3 free hours of streaming. And so when you make the account, it's a free account as long as you don't, go over those 3 free streams or 3 free hours, one or the other, and you can watch it for free. But she couldn't do that.
Adam. Good to see you, my friend.
I'm muted for a reason. Okay. Yeah, I didn't want people screaming in the background. No bueno. Eden, Debbie, what's up? So I was trying to find, there was another show that I was watching earlier on YouTube. The one I was talking to you about. I was going to show it. Boom. I probably can go back and just find it on here. There's actually a lot of stuff. If you just type in psychic fraud trials, a lot of them. On Facebook, on YouTube. James Randi, I've seen him.
I was watching this guy that was calling out psychics on that thing you sent me.
Huh?
He was over in the UK and he was calling out psychics, fake psychics.
He was?
He was following a real psychic, but he was trying to call him out.
Mm-hmm.
But he was real. It was strange. And not all psychics are 100% right all the time.
Yeah. No, they're not. And I do believe in psychics, and I do believe that everyone has certain ability, and if they try to, like exercise that muscle, that it can get stronger and stronger. Yes. Yes. Are you still going to try to come down in July to go with me? All right, here we go. So,
if he comes down in July, you guys need to come down here.
Just before we get to the video that you actually came here to watch, let me tell you about a new channel that I'm running called Decoding the Unknown. It's a show where I take a long, deep dive into some of the world's biggest mysteries, from what happened to the Roanoke colonists to the regular guy who found a listening device in his...
There we go.
Number 10. Sylvia Brown was a kidnapping. Sylvia Browne made a name for herself as a psychic on the daytime talk show circuit and published a number of books before she died in 2013. In what turned out to be one of her most infamously wrong psychic predictions, Browne told Luana Miller that her daughter Amanda was dead. This happens in 2004 on the Montel Williams show. Luana died in 2006, believing her daughter was dead. In 2013, Amanda Berry was rescued from the home of Ariel Castro, along with 2 other women where she'd been held captive for a decade. After she escaped, she revealed that Castro had left a TV on for the women to watch during the day. In 2004, she'd seen the episode of Montel Williams that her mother was on, and she had to watch as a woman claiming to be a psychic, a woman she thought would finally be able to tell her mother the truth and set her free, said the exact opposite. Montel Williams later apologized to Berry, but Browne maintained that she was always right more than she was wrong, and it was good to be wrong. Not something like that. Number 9, Noreen Renier fails Kimberly McAndrew. Noreen Renier has been in the psychic game for years and claims to have helped police solve over 600 crimes. One of these crimes was the disappearance of Kimberly Andrews, a 19-year-old Canadian who vanished in 1989 on her way home from work. In 1995, with no progress, Noreen Renier came in to help find her. Noreen sat down with both police and family to help locate Kimberly. Transcripts of her interviews include her saying things like, "Your sister just finally gave up on you. You're the procrastinator in the family," to Kimberly's sister when she admitted to not writing down her dreams. She offered details of Kimberly's last day and supposed demise, many of which didn't align with facts already in evidence. Even simple things like what door she left to go home from work. After sending police to 2 locations, which they searched with divers that came up empty, police told her of a suspect named Jamie who confessed. Only then did Noreen decide she had conjured up a name, someone called Jimmy. When she's told that the suspect is named James, and she was already told that, she just says, "Oh darn." They then performed a 3rd search, wasting yet more resources. No one has ever been arrested in the case. Number 8, Uri Geller exposed. One of the most famous cases of a psychic getting owned on national TV came to us thanks to the late, great Johnny Carson. Famous for bending spoons and other tricks, Uri Geller was going to show off his talents for the audience. Carson insisted on setting up the props instead of letting Geller do it. The result was Geller failing at everything, stalling, making excuses, and clearly being very uncomfortable. Magicians came out and labeled him an outright fraud. Geller blamed his failure on a hostile environment and not on the fact that he wasn't able to set up the props ahead of time. Famed skeptic James Randi exposed Geller's tricks and explained how anyone could bend spoons. Geller later sued a publisher for defamation, a case which he lost. The court ordered him to pay $20,000 in legal fees as well. Number 7, Psychic Zoe. Anne Thompson was making a living as a fortune teller named Psychic Zoe. Her specialty seemed to be defrauding the gullible, which she did to the tune of $800,000. As a result of her scheming, she ended up being charged with fraud. Thompson's massive scam actually only took in 2 victims. One was a businessman who got scammed out of $72,000. The second victim was a Canadian woman who got bilked for a stunning $740,000. When she finally went on trial for fraud and grand larceny, Thompson and an accomplice only got 5 years probation and were ordered to pay back some of the over $1 million that they were ultimately found guilty of stealing. Number 6, Long Island medium Miss After Miss Live. One of the most popular psychics today is the Long Island medium Teresa Caputo. Though she's very famous and her show is edited to make her look remarkable and genuine, her live shows are not always so smooth. A writer from New Jersey went to a live show at which Caputo attempted to cold read the audience and failed again and again. She'd nail simple things like who had a father who passed, which could arguably be dozens of people in the room, and then fumble the question trying to guess the reason why or other personal details. People have said that producers from Caputo's show interviewed them before they talked to the psychic, getting all the details ahead of time, which takes some of the wonder out of a psychic reading. Number 5, Sylvia Browne on the Sago Mine. Sylvia Browne just couldn't help being wrong, so she's made a second appearance on the list. This time, she again follows the already familiar pattern of saying people are dead when they aren't and doing it in front of the TV cameras. The fact was, she had a long, noted history of being wrong about many things, but some stung more than others. In 2016, 13 coal miners were trapped when a mine in Sago, West Virginia collapsed. Sylvia happened to be live on the radio when it happened, and the host alerted her as the event broke out. He told her, based on the reports that were available at the time, that the miners were all alive. Sylvia explained that she knew they would be found. In reality, all but one of the miners died. The host got the updated info and told Sylvia, who immediately agreed that none were alive, as though the story were unclear and she was using her powers to divine it. Number 4, John Edward accused of hot reading. Psychics work in several ways, but the most famous methods are cold reading and hot reading. You may have seen cold reading in action. It's where the alleged psychic asks incredibly vague questions and lets people fill in the blanks. They'll say things like, I'm getting an R. Does anybody have an R in their name? In front of a crowd of people. The odds are that someone will have a dead relative with the initial R or S or T or however many letters they need to go through. Hot reading is less common and it's harder to do because it requires research. Hot reading can involve spying on people with hidden microphones or doing online research about a subject. And they pretend that the information was gleaned from the spirits. John Edward, who had a daytime TV show for some years in which he did psychic readings, was caught doing hot reading. The idea was that assistants on the show were having potential guests fill out comment cards that included personal details and family trees before the show. One guest also noted when the show aired, it had been edited to make it look as though he was nodding in agreement with things Edward was saying, even though they weren't true. The guest also noted that between the time the audience was seated and the start of the show, there was an hour delay. During that time, much of the crowd discussed the reasons they had arrived, in particular the dead loved ones they wanted to contact, all while aides from the show were chatting them up. Number 3, Laurie McQuarrie.
Blues, pinks, greens, greys, yellows, browns, and black.
And the undead reporter. Laurie McQuarrie claimed that she had been a psychic detective for 30 years and had solved hundreds of missing person cases. In an effort to test her accuracy and ability to deliver on that promise, a producer from the show Inside Edition pretended to be the brother of a missing child. He brought a photo of the missing girl and set up an interview. The cost was $400. McQuarrie proceeded to explain how the girl was sexually assaulted and then had her head beaten in with a rock. She said she could locate the body as well. The next day, she had another meeting, this time with a woman named Lisa Guerrero, who also worked for Inside Edition as an on-air correspondent. Guerrero had some concerns with McQuarrie's previous reading, owing to the fact that the photo of the supposedly dead girl was a childhood photo of Guerrero. McQuarrie left the interview, but 10 other psychics also confirmed that the girl in the photo was dead. Number 2, Deborah Dominique outed at a Denny's. Deborah Dominique claims to be a professional psychic and pet psychic on LinkedIn. She has not had the international fame that some of the psychics we've covered today enjoyed, but she has outed herself in much the same way many of them have as being, well, not entirely trustworthy. Most psychics are arguably doing harmless things by telling people they may get their dream job soon or that their love life will get better. But Dominique waded into the waters of being a psychic detective, claiming that she helped find the body of Lacey Peterson. The CBS affiliate in Sacramento figured someone that was trusted by the FBI should be able to answer a few questions about a missing person, so they took her to a Denny's and filmed her in secret to see what would happen. Dominique looked at photos of a missing boy and determined that he was dead, the victim of child trafficking. She even stated that his body was buried in Europe and she was channeling his spirit for a moment. The entire time, the actual boy from the photo was sitting in the booth behind her. For what it's worth, the station also interviewed an FBI agent who went on record saying that the FBI has never solved a case with the help of a psychic. Number 1, Maria Duvall's massive scam. Maria Duvall didn't have the name recognition of Sylvia Brown or John Edward, but she could scam as well as any fraud psychic, and she managed to rake in a ton of cash doing so. According to the Justice Department, she defrauded her victims for about $180 million. Duvall, whose real name was Maria Carolina Gamba, ran a mail fraud racket claiming to be a psychic. She gained notoriety after alleging to have used her psychic powers to find Bridget Bardot's missing dog, which was not true. Bardot herself pointed out that her dog wasn't missing, it had died, and no psychic had found it. The scam involved sending personalized letters, usually to the sick and elderly. There were whole companies of people involved in churning out these en masse, designing them to look personalized and handwritten. It's even been said that some had coffee stains on them to give them authenticity. The personal details were taken from data miners, but they made the letters seem like the person writing truly knew who they were writing them to. They clearly worked, given how many victims fell for it and how much money they made. Each round of correspondence cost a person $40, plus there were extras like lucky talismans that would cost more. Though the Justice Department shut the scam down, that was only in the United States. The company behind the letters is still going strong in other parts of the world.
It's crazy.
People that scam elderly people piss me off.
Yeah, no matter what kind of scam it is, whether it's psychic or not.
I know. I can't stand that.
They get scammed all the time or are murdered for their life insurance and stuff, you know, like all kinds of. It's crazy.
That nothing makes me madder than people that take advantage of the elderly.
Yeah. It's crazy. Well, we went over already, but like, in a nutshell, what do you think? Not about this, but like, How about both? About either the psychic fraud thing or why do you think? Do you have any thoughts about the Pennsylvania subpoena to court of Koberger's parents for the Dana remains?
I think his parents are a pretty weak alibi. I mean, put me on the stand for either one of my kids, and
Yeah, I was saying just like Brian Laundrie's parents, and look now what's going on with them. The truth is coming out.
yeah,
We all knew all along, and everybody thought so. You know what I'm saying? Everybody said it.
yeah. I mean,
Everybody said that they assisted him, and they went and dropped him off there, and then his mom gave him that letter that says "burn after reading," and it's been kept this whole time.
yeah,
And that they even gave him a knife and a gun, possibly.
yeah. I mean, come on. Your parents are going to be a pretty weak alibi.
Yeah, her family's suing them, so but good for them. They should for not reporting the crime and not contacting the parents and telling them. Renee! Hey! How's it going? That's my local ghost hunting buddy. Yeah.
I mean, I know my parents. I wouldn't want my parents to perjure themselves for me.
I would be more concerned in my situation because I have small children. I'd be more concerned for my kids. Being very like having to basically go in hiding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because I don't have very many parents left except for only one, yeah, she'd have to move to a more high security facility or area. She'd have to move somewhere safer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm curious to see what comes out with that as well, and if there are any ways that they're going to that it's gonna. I want to know if it's connected to the IDs that they found in the glove in the box in his apartment. Or that's my number one question with this other case.
Yeah.
And then my second one is why are his parents being subpoenaed to testify? And my third one is what the hell was his alibi?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it might just be some skeletons falling out the closet. When this Idaho court case happened and all the stuff they collected, they might have just unleashed a bunch of demons.
I mean, I think his sister, the one that went out, and I'd be interested in finding out because the sister said that more than one person in the family went out and checked his car.
Probably his mother. I believe it was his mother.
Yeah.
Because they said the dad didn't really believe that he did it. Which a parent, until proven guilty, a parent should support their kid. But if they know for a sure, without a doubt.
When he lied to that cop and said, we're going for Thai food, and his dad said, well, we're coming from Washington, going to Pennsylvania. I mean, his dad even...
Poor his parents, poor them. And I saw a post where his mother had posted, it wasn't like 110% sure that it was her, but I'm sure that it was her. She said, my son's 28 years old. He's fixing to move and go to school in Washington to get his PhD in criminology or something like that. She was so excited about it. And I'm like, that is just makes my heart sad.
Yeah. they were probably shocked that he was going.
Yeah, and then
Little did
the
they
sister
know.
that lost her job, one of the sisters that lost her job, that she lost her profession, her career. She lost her job, and she was a social worker of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of this, and they didn't really give her a reason why, which it's obvious that it was because of this.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, it is. Because I'm like, what? I wonder what if she has children or a mortgage.
That's a lawsuit right there.
Actually, that probably is. I
Yeah.
guarantee you that it is. I guarantee you it is.
Yes.
Sue their asses.
She can't help that her brother is a.
Koberger's sister, it's not your fault. Go sue their asses.
Yes, exactly.
It's not your fault what your brother did because sometimes brothers are just stupid. Trust me, I know I have a bunch of brothers. I know they stupid sometimes because I'm just like, God, where did y'all come from? Not the same tree that I was hanging on.
I have a stepbrother, and believe me, sometimes I want to smack the shit out of him.
No, if anyone has any questions or anything like that, once she sends me the video of the footage that looks like Koberger might have been sitting at the Corner Club, which I have not seen yet,
Yes.
or heard anything about until tonight, then we will put the link in the comments so that everyone else can come back and watch it. So don't miss out on that. Be looking for it.
I have to get permission from her, but actually, I'd love to get
something that's public.
I would love to get her on this
Oh,
on this show.
Yeah, I think you may need permission to share her post, and I was going to say if it's public, you don't have to get permission.
Well, not to send it to you, but to put it on here.
Not if it's public, then there's a share button underneath it.
Yeah.
Not really. Legally, you don't have to get permission from her. You're not claiming any rights to it. You know what I mean? Now, if you record it and you put it on your thing and you don't say what source it came from, then you can get in trouble.
Oh, okay.
Especially if it's original content of any kind, or it's copyrighted, or if it has what do you call it? Like, if there's any rights to it.
Okay, well, I'm just new to this, so I don't want to step on any toes or anything.
Yeah. No, I'm sure that you can look and see how many times it's been shared and that it's already been shared if you look underneath it, which is the same thing you would be doing. Sharing it, copying the link, and be sharing it to something else. If you don't want to do it, just send it to me and I'll do it. You can come after me. So, but anything that's public knowledge or that's public, that's on public here, you know what I mean? Like this, if anyone shares this, they can't get in trouble. It's public. It's not private. There's not a membership that has to be paid to watch it or anything like that. I don't have any, like LLC or any copyright rights or anything like that. So, anyways, there's no contracts that have been signed. Everybody, thanks for watching. See you later, Renee.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Keep it creepy.